So we have Clive Mukundu in the studio, well-respected musician, and he's actually regarded as an elder by the younger guys. And he's a very funny man. If you meet him, he's so relatable, and he's that relatable that you can even make my jokes and and it won't even be like you're speaking to an old man. But you are old though. No, you're old.
I'm old.
You're not old.
I'm one of those no tonakiro.
All right. And the good thing is you don't actually look your age.
Thank you.
Yeah,
plus music going to my healing properties.
And this is the thing. This is the reason why we actually called you here. That in light of what has happened with the recent award ceremonies, artists are really frustrated as to them feeling they have not been recognized the way they need to be recognized. So the industry is a whole system. There's a whole setup that needs to be working in the industry. And the fact that you started back in the 90s, before we had all this technology. In the 80s, sorry. Before we had all this technology that we have today, you got to experience a lot of transitions. You experienced from the time of record players, cassettes, CDs. Now we've gone digital. And another thing that the artists also do complain about is the fact that they feel like the industry is not being fair in giving them the right kind of support so that they can be as big as they want to be. So that's what the conversation is going to be about this morning. And I like the fact that you said that you started in the 80s. How far in the 80s? Late 80s?
Late 80s, started in 1988.
And a bit of a brief background, some of the bands that you've worked with from back in the day?
Somanda ndebele ulbamtukudzi Choniso Maraire, Alexio Kawara, Japreza, Derek Mpofu. I'm featured on more than 1,000 albums. So
no way.
Yeah, so I might be the most recorded artist in Zimbabwe.
you could actually be that. And from the time that you started, what was it like for a new artist for you? We're getting into the game, trying to break out so that they can be known or even be given an opportunity in the recording studio.
At the time I started, there was only one studio, and that was Musia Tunya at Grammar Records. And then later on they became two, but still for you to record it, to go through serious auditions. And if you fail those auditions, you never play on radio. And some auditions that you play live in front of my producers, and I don't get my Antichrist. So it was scary and you'd be nervous.
But
it was not my jokes, because once you make a simple mistake, you'll be chased out. They will chase you out, and they were very strict. So that was the style of work that time.
So for an artist, this is like you're saying the audition for you to then get an opportunity to get into the studio. You get into the studio, you do record, and you're working with professional recording producers. And now that you've got this product, was it a guarantee, a given, that just because you have gone into the studio, or pass audition, or Pindam studio, you've given you 5 hours in the studio, this song is going to be playing on the radio?
What they will do is they will make sure that they record what they viewed as the best. So once that is done, the industry it structures, because the record label is the one that owned the studios, and the radio pluggers, the marketers, the marketing department. Once the music is released within the same day, it's all over Zimbabwe, and you wouldn't do much work, because you just come and record and just go home. They'll call you for a photo shoot for the album cover, and then they'll call you for a video. Then they'll do all the data work, including airplay, distribution, everything. Yeah, in our traders all during recording. So artists didn't do much work that time. All the work was done by the company. All you needed to do was to bring good music.
And obviously things did start to change with the technology coming in, And somewhere around the 2000s, that's when the industry was opened up. We got more producers coming up. We got the big players that were holding fort in the industry, gatekeeping. They slowly started to let go because some new players were coming in. When you look at that transition that happened, do you feel like it was handled the best way? Did you feel like we took advantage of it to our fullest potential in order to also make money from it?
That was not the case, unfortunately. It was, for example, the old gatekeepers that you mentioned, they failed to adapt to the new systems. And the piracy problem was not handled properly. So all the record labels were kicked out. So as we speak right now, we haven't had proper record labels since I think around 2007-8 when the old record labels went out of business. So right now it's just a jungle. Hakuna ningrini proper music industry, nema proper structures. So I can simply say we did not handle the issue well. Because right now artists get a lot of airplay, those who get it, but one of us not married, one got poor and famous. So
what do you mean when was not married? When was not married in what aspect?
Yeah, because with the situation as it is right now, if one releases music, you have to nema pirates and akusina revenue not to artists. Means my revenue streams are very few. Because otherwise, what you can release music, at least you'd get something. Then posito my royalties like my performance royalties, but on my radio stations or chance of collecting society. So if I look right now, the only revenue artists get from their music is performance royalties are no but the rest of the band they don't get anything. So right now the way the music industry is miramushi, people are just getting poor and famous.
All right, so there has been conversation from the artists. They have come out and said, listen, yes, piracy is wrong, but at the same time, when they release their music, I'm sure you've noticed this, some artists, some musicians, some upcoming artists, they create WhatsApp groups. They themselves distribute their music on WhatsApp. And you're talking about royalties, you need to make sales. They distribute their music on WhatsApp, and they've come out to argue the point that sometimes I have to give mahara. Is that a method that you think actually works, or is for the installing the goal?
Pana idea kambwitwa Selma Mtukudzi yekuti aiti vanhu vanotumira mari
$1. Everybody send me $1.
And then uvatumira music. I think that's a better strategy than just go kanda for free. Pano maartists anotaura kuti hanzi haivin piracy yakatonaka bhozi takatoita popular, but ifanira kuti it's the same nekutaura drip yakanaka bhozi vanhu vakabatwa chibharo vakaita vana. It's the same thing because vadautasa before piracy artists used to get popular foot, but they would get popular with money. Very popular, but
all right, so we got some love that's coming through for you, Hansi. I love the way you talk. I followed some of your videos and they're very interesting and so full of sense. And just a side note, Hansi, I've got a top badge on your Facebook account. Notification.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the support.
This is from TK the Plumber. Thank you so much, TK. So now coming back to these artists, to the new artists. So when you say the artists are not making money, musicians are not making money, what is lacking in the industry? What structures are lacking in this music industry that we have right now? Aside from the issues of trying to tackle and address and put piracy to an end, because at the same time, like you're saying, the law is there against piracy, but even my artists are not, they're also distributing their music.
In desperation, because they lawyer got protect. I'm sure the artists yeah. So yeah, to desperation, mate.
But what structures do you think need to be put in place in order to make sure that we actually turn this industry into a money-making industry like other countries around the world?
First of all, if you go to all the countries when music is fire, they've got record labels. Of course, in social media era, kuna umano prefer kuzvitravega part ukada kutarisa worldwide maartists anenge ari under marecord labels they prosper more, they even social media chapo they get more views, and vanenge vasiri under marecord labels vazhinji vacho vanozozviitira vega vanhu vanenge vatori nemari kudhara. Because ukada kutarisa the proper way inoranwa music industry you are recorded for free. It's not for free 100%. It's on loan, and then work case like my videos, my covers, my photo shoots and everything, it was taken care of in a record label. And then was Chamvari out from ourselves. So because of lack of my record labels, but a lot of my artists, especially my rural areas, my chichi, because they don't have the money to record. Because my studio fees, I think I just supposed to cover my record labels. Ukatasa artists like wanapenga udzoke vakatowanikwa kumaprazi chaiko chaiko. So such artists they cannot record. So right now we are sitting on vanapenga udzoke vamwe vasati vadiscover mwana olova mutukudzi vanani vari kumamisha vari kumageto, and unoziva kuti talent chacho the best talent inobva from poor areas because hameno connection iripo between nhamo neinspiration. So
it triggers something.
Yeah, because that's a world where the humble chinzi artists akabva kuma low density areas akaunta akabva from a rich family. The majority are people vanobva from Namo. Saka iwa vane Namo yo ndo vakutadza kurekoda manje. So number one, kuti problem igadzirike pana pachida ma record labels like what's happening around the world. Like ukatasona na South Africa na Nigeria vantonema international record labels, vana Sony, vana BMG. Of course vane another advantage which is population, because like South Africa there's 60 million, Tanzania more than 60 million, Nigeria over 200 million, Zimbabwe just 15 million. So it's another disadvantage. Right. Berlin conference here, but basically answering your question, chingatona zobatsira ma record labels, but my record labels will never be there can win a pirates. Because Mariaba, it comes from ourselves.
So they will hold back saying that inengatori loss ya nduguto.
Inengatori loss because they record you for free as a loan, and then they get their money from ourselves. Ourselves in the road go pirates.
Okay, and then when it also comes to management and sponsorship, because this structure is no longer there. You have a record label and the managing company for these artists. We now have a situation. What is the difference between an artist manager and someone who sponsors an artist?
Yeah, that's a good question, man, because there's a big difference between those two. An artist manager is the one who works with the artist who takes care of the business side. And the business side, actually, it's a very vast entity. Because contracts, sign my contracts, we make sure the artists are put to negotiate my shows. Can I even my opening shows? My shows, the artists are get a scandal. Basra manager to make sure that my press statement and everything. Charge a mari. In fact, the business side, the rest, it's a topic into that show. It's a huge topic. Then sponsor munarungo na kigona artists artists asimuke. Asinga anything in return. That's a sponsor. And usually there's a confusion between a sponsor and a promoter. Because my artist machine janofunga the promoter and the sponsor foot. Ndonzo ngamwa ma promoter acharongoda vano nimbiri cheta ma promoter achada tongita mari ndo tutori basa la promoter. Because a promoter is a businessman. Arutota so to make a profit. So ukatona
the name that will
ukaona promoter achikujamba ausati wakazira zita. Yes, so kuti anze ma promoter acho varuti jamba ma female artists, varuti jamba ma artists anova from this region. It means ausati wakazira zita wakazira zita vanokutsvaga. Because why will they ignore munhu anounzira mari?
Okay, so now where are the new artists, the upcoming artists getting it wrong? What should they look out for when they're coming up in this industry?
Yeah, that's another very good question, because right now there's chaos in music industry. Because a lot of people aren't going to pay without guidance. Because we used to have my record labels. Some record labels, they used to give guidance to my artists, even for my genres. So I think for a new artist arupinda industry, anfana kupinda achina kuziva aruda kuita zvipi ma goals ake and api, because pane munhu ari kushandisa strategy A but arutarisira ma results strategy B. I can give an example. Pama genres, pane mama genres yekuti muno muZimbabwe unorira but kunze kwenyika you can't fly. Kana uchikwira kunze kwenyika unoridzira maZimbabweans ari ku UK neari ku Dallas neari ku Australia. Poita imwe music yekuti ukairidza munhu unogona kusaputika seregezwa kubhati kunze wenyika unongodya nemafestivals nemachichi. So you need to identify kuti zvauri kuda unatsita ndezvipi, because pane a lot of ma-street theories ariko mazuva ano ekuti vanhu vari kunyeberana singa. The strategy for international breakthrough is sounding local, sounding Zimbabwe. And then the strategy for local hype is sounding foreign. Sound foreign, sound. It's a paradox. So as an artist manager, you need to figure out what are your goals. Uda kuputika internationally, zvakaitwa naOliver Mtukudzi, nana Thomas Mapfumo.
But I'm not talking about putika locally as well.
Yeah, ndikuyeko. Saka count uda ngorira pa radio muZimbabwe, ungoita famous muZimbabwe. There are three ma strategies. Pane strategy kuti unokwanisa kurira muZimbabwe uchidya kunze. Zvanhu zvakaita Oliver Mtukudzi.
Right.
Better strategy kuti unongorira muZimbabwe pama-radios, but ma-shows chaivo you can't do ma-shows. Because without mentioning names, pane ma-artists atinoziva akano anorira seri pa-radio, but ambofakwa na poster rake, because vanhu havauyi.
Right.
Then pozita kuti munhu maanorira zvake, but achita mari. Like for example, Danso is not international Zim Danso, but munhu muZimbabwe anoita pane very good examples. So I think as an artist munhu anofanira kunatso to figure out zvaroda kuita ndezvipi, then strategy yako manje yochifambirana nezvinangwa zvako. Because I meet a lot of my artists who anoudzwa kuti andorita international, but you're sounding like Beyonce. You can never go international which sound like Beyonce in Zimbabwe, because Beyonce ariko kudhara.
All right. So I think like this, I would love for us to one of these days have a part of this conversation. This is a long conversation. So it's online. But in conclusion, what do you think, what advice would you give to the new artists? Someone has already hit us up saying, Mukoma ndokumbira kuti mundibatsire mundisimudzire, I'm an upcoming artist. Last words that you'd have to someone like this guy.
Yeah, funny statement ndakagara ndakataura mazono, talent is not enough. Because the music industry is not based on talent, it's based on strategy. That's why you're not kune ma-artists story nakana chipo, but they are millionaires ku Western world. So the music industry is not based on talent, it's based on strategy. And one of the biggest mistakes you do to an artist mazon, they would dance. I'm a versatile artist, urugimba jazz, urugimba rock, urugimba blues, same album urugita onge playlist epam chatu. Akuna business na niche market. I don't think you would want to buy boots with chicken in. Because chicken in tongo zan de calf.
Right.
So those no zangwe music industry kana uri wembira vanongoziva kuti uri wembira
vasingadzimanya naizvozvo zvekuti
weta identity. Oliver Mtukudzi music yake ichitanga maitonzwa kuti ndiOliver Mtukudzi. This is Bob Marley. Kuna king of reggae Bob Marley, Queen of Soul Aretha Franklin, akuna king of everything. So that's one of the major mistakes when artists.
How can people find you on social media?
All my social media handles are Clive Mono Mukundu. All of them, whether it's Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook. Mama said I got zero.
As long as I'm it's okay. I'm still
yeah, no,
it's okay.
And no, the change, you know, the
Well, it's monosophical. It is what it is. We say it like it.